This is It Worth Playing series where I give you my take on video games to help you decide if you want to play it or not. It won't be any spoilers, so don't worry about me ruining your experience when you play the game. Today I'm going to be talking about Banishers Ghosts of New Eden, where it's available on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and it's centered around two characters who are banishers who, once they do their job as banishers, they have to live with the consequences of those decisions. The story is really good to where you're going to get invested in the characters and the decisions that they make, especially early on in the game. You're going to have to really make a tough decision. I won't give it away, but once you make that decision, it's going to set you down a certain path to where each encounter you're going to have to live with those choices. And I think that's a really good aspect of the game. But the story is really good. Like, I enjoyed it. I got invested in some characters and I thought it was really interesting because you come across people, giving you their version of the story. You have to determine if they're telling the truth or not, which that ties into when it's time for you to do the banishing. That's when it'll help you make that decision. Combat in that game is not the best. It's really clunky. It's it can be tedious at times to where it's gonna frustrate you. When you first start off fighting in the battles, when you're fighting one on one, it won't bother you so much to where you kind of get used to it. But as the game progresses and you starting to fight more and more enemies, it's going to become a problem because you're going to be fighting probably like 5 or 6 enemies at one time. And how you can lock on, there is the option to lock on the characters, which that's what I chose to do. I didn't want to like free roam to where I can just hit anybody because that's way more problematic. So I will say for me, which I'm playing on PC by the way, it was easier for me to lock on and get those characters, but you're gonna have to get used to that clunky combat. What I don't like is the random combat, where you get to a certain point of the game to where you go to an area, you're fighting 10 enemies, you finally get rid of all those. Maybe 2 minutes later, you fight the same 10 enemies for no reason. I do not like that in the game. That's just, it gets annoying because that kind of combat just, it means nothing. This game, you're just going to encounter one battle after another for just no rhyme or reason. And they kind of make the enemies semi sponges to where they just absorbing a crazy amount of damage for no reason. That some of them even have armor. Like, why do some of these spirits or ghosts, whatever they call, have armor? That doesn't make sense. Now, I will talk about the skill tree in Banishers, which I think is pretty good because once you accumulate enough points, you get to unlock new powers for both characters. I think the skill tree is pretty straightforward. It's not too crazy to where you have to figure out everything. Your biggest problem is going to be just like what power or ability that you want to unlock. And I think that's a really good part of the game. Now, it's not an open world game. It's more on the linear side to where you get to go through certain areas, but it's not like an open world, like let's say Assassin's Creed Shadows, to where you can just go anywhere and do anything. Banisher is more compact to where they have areas you can explore, but it's not open world. If you like a game that has a good story, but everything else is just kind of like mediocre, then I would say, hey, go for it. This would be your type of game. But if you're looking for a game with a good story and where the combat matches everything, I would say probably wait till you can get it at a really cheap price or just kind of bypass the game because I'm not going to say it's a terrible game or it should have got game of the year, but it is a decent game once you get past the combat. And to me, I can live with that. So I will leave the decision up to you if you think it's going to be worth playing or not.